Well, welcome back everybody to the Formula Fun podcast, and it's time for our roundup and review of the Brazilian Grand Prix of the weekend gone by. Alongside me, back returning after a week's absence, is Rage. How are you this week, my friend?
Hello. Absolutely fabulous, as usual.
Good, I'm glad. So yeah, I guess you might have a little bit more to talk about than just this race. You missed your hero, Lewis Hamilton, being crowned his 5th world title.
I had to really think then.
What as to why?
I was like, what have I missed? I haven't missed anything, I don't think.
Is that big a deal, was it?
Yeah. I forgot, yeah. I guess. He was always going to win though, right?
Well, I mean, not like 10 races ago.
In my heart, he was always going to win.
Okay, so now you're not even happy for him. Well, I don't care anymore. It's just so obvious. Even you're getting bored of it.
Winner. Straight winner.
Serial fucking winner.
Winner.
Okay, well, that makes that a bit easier then. I thought you might have a bit more to say.
What can I say? He's won his 5th title. He's on his way to beat the Great One. What more can you say? He's one of a kind, huh?
You think he will then?
Yes. Yeah, I reckon he'll equal and then call it a day.
Don't think this is what we were talking about last week with Fox. You don't think he'd want to go for that one extra?
No.
If he'd equaled it and he's still like, however old he'll be, 32, 33, 34, something like that.
I think he will. I think he'll run out of time.
I think it's very unlikely he'll get to 7.
Do you?
Well, I don't think that's what I said last week. I had time to reevaluate. I don't know. It's just a big ask, isn't it? To do another 2 in a row, but it's possible.
No, I don't think it's a big ask. You know, he's got 19 and 20 to do it before the reg changes. So, yeah, I reckon so.
Okay. Well, on to the Brazilian Grand Prix of the weekend gone by then, and it was nothing if controversial. There's plenty to talk about. Lewis Hamilton winning is not the be-all and end-all of this race by any means.
No.
It was just great fun to see everybody competing, all 3 teams. It was an interesting race, and I'm sure a lot to get into. So we'll start as we always do with practice. Some cars went round, some didn't. Some didn't very spectacularly in the case of Nico Hülkenberg.
Yes. Definitely. Yes.
Of course, you have no idea.
No, I didn't watch any of it, but yep, some went round, some not at all, some on fire.
No, not this week, I'm afraid.
No, fuck's sake.
No fires this week. We did have
One
a
week it will
penalty
happen.
because of a fire.
Really?
Yeah, Daniel Ricciardo's fire in Mexico got him a penalty, 5-place grid penalty here for changing the turbo. That was actually damaged, ironically, not by the fire, but by the fire extinguishers that put out
Yes,
the
I
fire.
heard that as well. The fire extinguisher destroyed the turbo.
Correct. That's as close as we got to fire this weekend. Nico Hülkenberg coming out the final corner in, I think, practice 2, had a massive accident, got onto the grass and just tried to keep the power on and went straight off into the barrier.
Didn't see it.
Very uncharacteristic mistake. That's a shame because it was contender for segment coming later.
Was it?
Everybody's favourite.
Is it? Shall I go back and watch the little segments on F1.com?
I mean, it really doesn't matter.
What practice was it? What session?
Practice 2.
Was it practice 2?
It was practice 2.
Practice 2?
Practice 2, you say?
Practice 2? Definitely not killing time.
No, we're not killing time at all.
It won't search anything on YouTube. What is going on with you? I think Google's down.
I don't think so.
It won't search. There we go. Done it. So, practice 2?
Practice 2.
Practice 2?
Something interesting to fill
Yes.
that little gap. It would have been in the news section, but it's not really Formula 1 related.
Oh, yeah?
Formula E
Oh,
will be
Yeah.
on the BBC.
Formula E.
On
That-
the BBC.
Oh, so great thing we want to watch. Formula E.
Okay. Is it? I mean, it's great racing to watch.
Is it?
Okay. you watch your video yet?
I'm Formula E. I'm watching it now. I'm just watching it. Still watching it. Watching it some more. Watching it a little bit further. Watching a little bit more than that. Oh yeah, he went onto the grass, onto the rumble stick, onto the grass. Oh, and both. Smashy, smash. Yeah, that's crash of the week, isn't it? It's gotta be.
Maybe.
That was good. Possibly crash of the week.
Depends if you go for circumstance or biggest crash.
Biggest crash or biggest crash in the drama stakes.
Exactly.
So, yeah, Formula E coming to BBC.
Yeah.
That's
it, really.
absolutely fabulous, as I would say. Yeah, I guess we get to watch Massa again.
I'm much more
And
likely to
Van
watch it if it's on BBC.
Are you?
I'll be honest. Yeah.
Are you?
I find Channel 5... Actually, it wasn't even Channel 5 this year.
It was
on...
ITV4.
Was it?
Yes, it was.
You see, that's not convenient for me.
Have they worked out that they have to come in and pit for another car yet, or have they got through that whole thing?
This year's the new Gen 2 cars.
Do they need to pit?
I don't think so, no.
I hope they don't, 'cause it ruined the racing, in my opinion.
It was quite fun.
Was it?
Especially when they took off the restrictions of how long they had to be in the pits for.
Oh,
It was just fucking chaos.
I saw some crashes in the pits.
Plenty of crashes after they announced that rule change.
But to be fair, Formula E is like trying to enforce veganism on me at the moment. It's
Okay.
a bit...
I mean, it's fastest growing form of motorsport, and it's...
Is it?
I mean, why do you contradict with double negatives constantly? Stop.
Do I?
Right, moving on to qualifying.
Okay.
Q3, Q1 even. Let's not jump the gun just yet. Got to fill this
Let's
out somehow.
Simmer the fuck down, Jamie.
Yeah.
Funny, do you want to know something really interesting?
Go on.
Didn't watch qualifying either.
Didn't you?
No.
Oh.
At this time,
Did you not?
Oh, no.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
See, it's not fun, is it?
No.
No, it's not fun. And I'm a bit disappointed you didn't watch qualifying. I mean, you're going to lose your place on this podcast soon.
Whoa! Now I think that would be very unpopular. That kind of decision is rash and unsportsmanlike, and throws complete disregard to the heritage of this
It wasn't
podcast.
a decision. I didn't say it was a decision. We've got
Now,
at least
Jamie,
one more to do.
We forgot. Whoa! We forgot to say that this podcast is now 1 year old.
We did.
Yes.
Way.
Happy birthday to me and you, the podcast.
Keep going.
No, that's it.
Oh. Okay. You'll get the rest at 2 years.
Yes.
No, I mean, it's been going for a year through us doing it for a year, not necessarily the demand for it. But I hope those people that do watch it and have supported it for the year we've been doing it have enjoyed it.
You just insulted every one of your subscribers.
I didn't know.
Just
Thanks
flat out. Oh, okay.
Okay.
I completely lost where we were. Yeah, no, the only reason I couldn't watch qualifying was because...
There's not a good reason, is there? You shouldn't have brought that back up.
I decided to watch Pirates of the Caribbean instead.
A film that's been out multiple years.
Well, we went bowling and we came back and it was late and it was qualifying and I did the family thing instead. So, and then the next day I thought, oh, well, I won't watch qualifying because, because I was also
Think
doing
of
the family
fucking
thing
anything.
again. And then I watched the race and I watched the qualifying, when they do the little roundup just before the race is about to start, and that's where I heard about what happened with Mr. Vettel.
Okay.
That's qualifying, guys.
That is qualifying. Right, Q1.
Yes.
Stoffel Van Dorn, Lance Stroll, Fernando Alonso, Brendan Hartley, and Carlos Sainz Jr. Those knocked out. Only surprise there really was Carlos Sainz. I guess Hartley was a bit of a surprise as well,
Semi-surprise.
considering the pace of Gasly.
Where was he? Oh, yeah, 10th.
Yeah, Gasly had good pace. That Honda engine is looking good.
Looking spicy.
We'll get to that later, I'm sure. A bit of Honda news. Yeah, Carlos Sainz unlucky not to get through, but Renault weren't very strong here in qualifying trim anyway. Sergio Sorokin squeezed himself through to Q2. Nick Hulkenberg, P14. 2 Force Indias of Ocon and Perez. And then Magnussen, the last car, not quite able to make it into Q2. Constant threat of rain during this qualifying session never really materialised. We got a few little splashes here and there, and it did cause a few issues for a few people. One of the best radio messages and best decisions of the weekend was Charles Leclerc. The rain started to come down a little bit, and he was like, "Oh, we can't get a lap in. Well, we have to abort." Or it was like, "It's starting to rain. Obviously, there's less grip. We're obviously not going to be able to go quicker." And they were like, "Okay, Charles, come in." He's like, "No, I'm not coming in. I was just saying there's some rain. I'm going to do my lap anyway." And then he went from about 13th to 8th, and he was the only person to improve. Big cojones on that guy.
Big Monegas cojones.
Great lap from him, and I just cannot wait to see him in that Ferrari next year.
It's going to be telling, isn't it?
It's going to be very, very interesting, to say the least. Breaking into the top 10, Pierre Gasly in the Toro Rosso, once again showing great form, and I keep forgetting we're going to see him in a Red Bull next year, alongside Max Verstappen. That could be fireworks. And handguns at dawn. I have to see how those two get on.
Dawn guns at hand.
Dawn guns at feet.
Feet guns at dawn.
Day dusk at feet.
Day feet at dusk.
Okay. Romain Grosjean P9 and Haas, pretty good lap considering. Then the two Saubers, I mean, again, we could see Kimi Räikkönen maybe challenging for the odd podium next year if that car continues the rate of improvement it's had.
So surprised by the pace of that Sauber. It's absolutely nuts, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think we all need clarification, really, on what relationship they have with Ferrari. Because at first we thought they were getting a similar deal to Haas. Maybe, but not as well publicised. But they're beating even Haas now. And I can't believe that they'd be given better parts than Haas from Ferrari. So I think they're just genuinely improving
Doing
a
better
lot.
job.
Yeah, and I think it's the money as well. I think the Alpha money has really helped. And they're in a much better position.
Give me some of that Alpha money, bro.
So, yes, long may it continue. And it might not be a dreary 2 years for Kimi. We'll see. And also, word of note there, Marcus Ericsson ahead of Charles Leclerc, your favourite man. Any words on your hero?
Thank goodness he's been picked up by the delights that is IndyCar. But we would be losing a real bright spark on the grid.
We're losing a talent greater than Charles Leclerc.
We are...
In Brazil, anyway.
That's his best qualifying result, right?
Yeah.
7th?
Yeah.
Need I say any more? Danny Ricciardo in 6th.
Not even a little bit of credit?
No.
Okay.
Danny Ricciardo at 6th with a 17.780, followed by Max Verstappen with a 17.778. Literally a net's penis between them.
Very close, very close. Then the two Finns floundering
That
a little
gap's
bit
literally
again.
closer than my chance of appearing on the podcast next week.
You're not on next week, are you?
No, so he's trying to replace me.
Oh, constantly. Yeah, but you've lasted a year without me finding a suitable replacement, so you'll probably be all right.
I feel that's quite good, you know.
Yeah, kudos to you for not
Thank
being
you.
fired from a non-paid job.
Thank you very much.
No, I'd have it no other way.
Thank you.
But try me again. The two Finns, once again, not quite matching their two teammates. Raikkonen's had his moments of brilliance this year. I feel Bottas hasn't. And he's really going to need something, isn't he? Next year.
I guess.
To keep that job. Well, it's a rolling 1-year contract. And
He's not going to have a job next year. Let's be simple and clear.
I mean, the year after next.
You know what I mean.
He's got a job next year. We know this. Yeah, I think Ocon is looking very likely, unless Bottas does something incredible next year.
He won't.
I think we'll see Ocon
Bottas.
in that Mercedes. Wow. Sebastian Vettel, P2, wasn't able to get on par with Lewis Hamilton, who took yet another, his 82nd, I think, pole position. Incredible.
It's almost like his achievements aren't being recognised because he is that good.
Do
you know what I mean? Like, how many P1s now?
82? 83?
82 P1s. That's like, some drivers don't even get 82 races.
No, I don't know anyone's denying. He is an incredibly talented
driver. It sounds so like when you just say, oh, he's got 82, that's his 80 seconds.
I mean, he leads
pole position.
He's the most poles in history. We know this. He's broken that record.
Just absolutely nuts. It flabbergasts me.
Yeah. And he should have more race wins, really. That's the only thing I would say from that statistic. It was the other way around with Schumacher. He had more wins than poles. So, but Hamilton is Hamilton is a true legend. There's absolutely no doubt about that. I just don't like him as a person. I've made this very clear. So I leave it to you, and I give you perfect opportunity to flatter him and. Yeah, well done. He's got 5 world titles and all this, and you're like, I've not really got anything to say. 15 minutes later, nobody gives Hamilton enough credit. When you're given the chance, you ignore it. There you go.
Damn you!
Right, a couple of little instances from qualifying. First one, Lewis Hamilton and Sergei Sorokin.
Yes.
I think Hamilton should have been given a penalty for this.
I think so also.
I think he got off very lightly.
It was the there are two sides to the coin.
Yeah, the one is that they weren't on flying laps.
They both weren't on flying laps. And if you look at a lot of other drivers, that is where you set up your car before you start said flying lap. So the fact that Sorokin was starting his flying lap coming out of the other corner just seems really random. I don't know, because that part particularly is almost literally like a build-up to when you start the lap on the next corner, going up that little, that straight. So it's very odd, and the fact that he was on the line. Well, of course he was on the line because he's just about to start his own lap. I think some other drivers had some issues with Hamilton as well. I think Raikkonen had a very close shave with Hamilton. Hamilton came over the radio and said, I wasn't sure which way he was going. Well, yeah, probably on the racing line, Lewis.
There were 2 or 3 incidents on that lap, and it just seemed like he was distracted a bit or not really paying attention, or Mercedes weren't doing their job.
I think he should have got a 5th place as well. I feel that he got let off very leniently.
I think so. And it's never nice to wish it, because he got pole position and he did the quickest lap, but I did kind of hope for it, because I was thinking it would spice up the race nicely. From a very selfish point of view, but I can see why they weren't on hot laps. It was weird that Sorokin did it. I think it was also made a bit more dramatic than it needs to be by the fact that Sorokin saw that Hamilton wasn't going to move, then went to the inside, and then Hamilton moved again to the inside to let him pass.
Yeah,
which is what caused the double move and Sorokin going off onto the grass. So yeah, it was all a bit unnecessary, really. But I do think Hamilton was at fault. But I can see both sides to that and why he wasn't given a penalty, I guess. And the second one was much more funny, much more hilarity ensued, shall we say, when Sebastian Vettel came back in. Threat of rain in the air, and Vettel still wanted to go out and do another lap, and he got called into the weighbridge. He then proceeded to knock down the cone, furiously wave his hands everywhere, nearly ran a man over by trying to drive himself onto the scales. And then he did, contrary to popular belief, he did actually turn his engine off when he was on there, so he did the right thing. And then he drove off under his own power, which he's not meant to do, and broke the scales.
And broke the scale, yeah.
And then just he was waving furiously, and the radio message from that is actually hilarious.
It's like, hop, hop, come on, hop.
And he starts doing German, which I never hear him do. That's when you know he's really angry.
What a stupid time to pull him in. Like, what a stupid time.
I agree.
Absolutely ridiculous. That's like the FIA just being dicks for no reason. Like, you can see that it's changeable conditions and he needs to get out there to get the best possible time. And, you know, then they almost like, well, how dare you be annoyed at us? How dare you?
Well, the thing is, if they're going to do this, pay the, like, I don't know what it would be, like 50 grand to put one at each circuit permanently in the pit lane, rather than these stupid little way things that they can't drive on and off of on their own power, and they have to stop them with a little cone. You know, if it was something that they could literally just drive onto whilst the engine's still running, and it would take 2 seconds and drive back off, there was a permanent feature of each track, pit lane, much better. It's not going to cost the world. Instead, they have these little fucking scales that they wheel out and obviously fly about with them. And they have these whole little procedures. But you look at, again, as we will see, I'm sure, throughout this podcast, two sides of things. They're perfectly within their right. It was a stupid time to do it. But it was hilarious to watch Vettel reacting in the way he did. And also escaped a penalty. He got a fine and a reprimand, but no penalty.
25,000 euros.
Big bucks to
be fair,
anybody apart from
scales. Well, Ferrari would have paid it, wouldn't they? But yeah,
probably. I mean, Vettel could pay it if he wanted. It's nothing. Let's face it.
No, that's literally a trip down the shops with the missus.
Yeah.
Also, there was a bit of a funny comment in practice, wasn't there, with that I sent you? A little funny meme.
There was. He had something moving around between his legs, and it's not what you think it is. And then proceeded to say, I'd be proud if it was what you thought it was, but it's not.
Something running around in between my legs, at my feet. And they were like, okay, confirm. He goes, it's not what you think it is, even though I would love it to be. It's not. It was quite funny, and if you get the chance, Google it. I think that was in practice, so Google Vettel practice radio Brazil, and you'll probably find it.
Just go F1 channel. They do a best of team
It's
radio every weekend.
On YouTube. But that was pretty much qualifying, wasn't it?
Yep, good pole from Lewis. Mercedes showing pace that we didn't think they might have here. And Red Bulls looked a little bit further off than we'd hoped. But that was all to change in the magical race to follow.
Oh!
One thing of note of that, both Ferraris qualified in Q2 on the soft tyres as well. Which was to prove not crucial in the race, but it should have been. But, yeah. Okay. Moving on to race day. Yeah. A race ensued.
that was a lovely bit of information.
I always need some help when I get to this bit.
Okay, well, the start, they all got through where they needed to, really.
Oh, that's all I was going to do. There's no need for you to do that then.
Okay.
Yeah, come on.
I thought you were really struggling and we'd only just got to the start. So 5 lights lit up red and then they didn't. And then some cars went forward. Some faster than others, some not at all, some on fire.
Correct. Not quite.
Thank you.
Correct.
So someone got taken at the beginning, didn't they? I think
yes.
Max found his way round. Someone. Vettel. Let's say Vettel. Why not?
It's so bad.
Max found his way around Raikkonen in a nice move at the beginning. And then it was still, 1-2, now the new 3 for everything else. Really, going back was about the same. Dan Ricciardo was looking quite racy, but I don't think he got past anyone until a little bit later on in the lap. That was after the Senna S's. Max had a little twitch of oversteer going out the Senna S. Raikkonen then attacked him going down into the next straight, but he managed to keep his position.
Okay.
Yes?
I don't know.
No, come on!
I can't remember exactly what happened at the beginning. That's the problem.
Okay.
Okay. Right, good start from both. Hamilton got a much better start. Bottas attacked Vettel a little bit here. Raikkonen tried to go down the inside of Max. And then everybody just about found their way through.
Well, Max got past Raikkonen at the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Raikkonen had to go back at him.
Exactly. Which
Down
he didn't
into
do.
turn 4. There
Didn't
was some
get it done.
contact between the two Renaults.
There was.
Between Hulkenberg and Sainz.
That was coming into the last corner-ish.
Yes.
Hulkenberg afterwards said it was a bit of fun, and Sainz got a bit boisterous. But it was all good.
I feel the two Renaults have a lot more recently.
Well, Sainz has got something to prove now, hasn't he?
Yeah, but he's had that. He's been able. That's what he should have done all season. Why now? He hasn't been a match for Hulkenberg most of the season, and that's been his problem. But I guess, sure, do it now, and it will all be fine. There was another thing to talk about. Marcus Ericsson actually on the grid. He broke his diffuser on the way to the grid. And the Sauber mechanics were literally sticking it back together with super glue. And as we found out later in the race, that didn't work very well.
Didn't work, mate.
No, he went very much backwards from the beginning. Made some contact into turn 1. Lost a bit more body work. So yeah, not great. Then we had Max defending from Raikkonen. And then Verstappen just unleashed. I mean, it was one of those series of laps that you couldn't quite believe was happening. I don't think anyone expected Red Bull. Everyone always hopes Red Bull's race pace will be enough to bring them back into the fight. But this wasn't race pace on a par. This was race pace in a different league to Ferrari and Mercedes.
They switched on that tyre really well, didn't they? So we forgot to point out that the Ferraris qualified it on the soft tyre where everyone else was on the super soft, right?
Correct. And the other big point of note is that Red Bull, from the word go, dismissed qualifying completely. It's the first weekend they've done it. They just completely disregarded it and did race prep and race setup for all 3 practice sessions. And that is, I think, where this race pace came from. He just got past Ferraris and Mercedes like they were nothing.
Yeah.
Squeezed through on Vettel into turn 1.
Switched it on.
Yeah, Ricciardo not quite so much, but obviously he had to come back through the field.
I
Started
think
through his
Ricciardo
5
did
place
an
penalty.
absolutely fantastic job. I think after lap 4 or 5, he was behind the front runners, and he was only just behind them. I think the gap was 3 seconds.
He got through well. I think
his race pace was just as impressive, but he didn't necessarily do much with it after that, though, did he?
No, I think he was missing a little bit on him. And then a little bit later on, Raikkonen got past Vettel, and Vettel went wide. And of course, this being the championship sewn up, and it's all about the constructors, Ferrari went, whatever. We'll just let it happen.
Yeah, so they should have done it all year.
What do you think? Raikkonen would have won the championship?
Well, I think he would have done a darn sight better than Vettel.
I don't think that's true.
Do you not?
No.
I was talking the other day, and I said if we had a very famous Spanish man in the driving seat, arguably we could be talking 4-time world champion for Fernando Alonso.
What if you put him in that?
If he was
Ferrari?
in last year's and this year's Ferrari, if he didn't ever move to McLaren.
Potentially, it's difficult. It's one of the things. It's impossible to say, isn't it? But he would have had as good a chance as Vettel, and he might have held his nerve a bit better.
I think he would have done. He works well under pressure. Anyway,
It's interesting.
lap 5.
We'll see. Lap 5.
And it's all fine.
It's all
At lap
fine.
5.
I mean, yeah, not much really happened until the two Mercedes came in very early. Bottas followed by Hamilton. Just destroying those super soft tyres and went on to the mediums till the end. Or that's what they were going to try and do.
Lewis came over the radio and said, "Well, you sure we're on the right car? I mean, right tyres?" That's his voice, if you didn't know.
Okay. Again, this is the whole complimentary thing about your hero, yeah?
Are you sure we're on the right tyres? Yes, Lewis, you're on the right tyres.
Perfect impression.
That's exactly how it went.
We actually just skipped Verstappen getting past two Mercedes as well.
Yeah, why not? He did it in the pits, didn't he? And under race pace on that Red Bull tyre.
Yeah, he did
because
he only passed Bottas on track and then Hamilton he undercut, didn't he?
Yeah.
Or overcut, really.
Yeah, because then he had to come in a couple of laps later because they pushed his stint. Obviously, Hamilton then overtook him in the pit, and then 3 laps after the pit, he overtook Hamilton.
Came back out quite... No. Verstappen came back out behind Hamilton.
That's what I said.
Oh, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Cool.
And then 3 laps later, he then overtook Hamilton.
him. Carry on. You know much more about this than me.
Well, apparently I watched it, and Jamie didn't.
I did. I just can't remember.
It was very late for us because we're peasants and we watched it on Channel 4.
No, I watched it on Sky this weekend.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. No,
What the hell? What were you doing?
At the end of the day, I'm on my 21st season of F1. I watch it to enjoy it. Like, I don't necessarily remember everything that's
Then
happened.
arguably should be you be doing a podcast.
Arguably not. Many would argue not. I'm here
Well,
for
that happened,
my
at
general
least.
knowledge of F1.
Well, Max then obviously they switched over onto the yellow wall tyre, whereas the Mercedes guys were on the white wall tyre. And before that, I think Lewis alluded to the fact that he thought that this was the wrong tyre. But I think Mercedes were hoping on the fact that it was going to come good at the end.
Well, I think their issue is they didn't have
switch it on.
They didn't have the tyre life on the super softs to do what Red Bull did.
No.
I think everybody would have loved to have done the one stop on the supers to the softs because of the amount of race practice that Red Bull had done and the way they'd set up their car for the race. They were the only people that could have managed that.
Like, I'm just putting it out there, right now, just you can feast your eyes on certain aspects of this car. So Red Bull are the only of the top 3 who are a customer team. So they don't have the budget that the works teams have, like Ferrari, Mercedes, even Renault. They have a customer engine, albeit they have a third-party engine tuner, and they use different kind of sneaky peekies to try and get good things out of fuel and oil than Renault recommend. But they are seconds a lap quicker than those Renault cars. And on race pace as well, they'll be overtaking those Renault cars. And it is kind of testament to how well and how good that Red Bull team is. If you think about it on terms of what they've been able to achieve and how they've been able to achieve it, I don't think, and I can't remember to the last time another team had done such a thing, apart from maybe like McLaren back in the 80s and 90s. It is quite staggering to think that in this day and age, a team like Red Bull are still able to compete at the very top, like they are as a customer car, because they don't have at the moment they don't have a works drive, do they? They will next year. But to still be up on where they are and winning races on such pace like that, it is testament to the design of the car. Adrian Newey.
The chassis is the best in F1.
It is
no
literally
doubt about it.
the best chassis. And you just think, what are these other teams doing with their money? What are they doing? What is Ferrari doing with their money? They're spending it all on cigarettes and pasta. Because I can't think of anything else they're spending it on. Do you know
It's
what I
not
mean?
all about money in this game, though. That's the thing.
It's just it is quite surprising though when you think about it. You know, the heritage behind some of these cars that Red Bull are racing against, and you just think, freaking out, these Austrians, they're pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean they're not Austrians.
You know what I mean, though.
The thing you got to remember with Red Bull is they hark back to Tyrrell, and then Jaguar and Stewart and BAR and Mercedes. That is not that team has been there for 30, 40 years. It's not.
Not in the guise that it is now.
Well, they've
Red
they've,
Bull-
they've run
Red
with
Bull
it.
ta-
But
Red Bull came in and took over a failing Jaguar that had very, very different ideas on how they ran the team. And Red Bull came at a completely different angle. And I will be very well.
I'm thinking of Mercedes. Hang on.
No, the right thing with the Jaguar thing at least.
Well,
You're
yeah,
right,
but
because it was the
sorry,
Jaguar
yeah,
team.
but the chain that I used,
Tyrrell, you mean?
Tyrrell to BAR, and that's
Mercedes.
That's Mercedes. Yep.
Yeah, but anyway, because that's what is that what went into the Brawn and whatnot, and then Mercedes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, for the car that they picked up the Jaguar, and that's when they started, to change things. Because I've read the Adrian Newey's autobiography, and he goes into the ethos behind the Jaguar team when they took it over. Was in like, we know what we're doing. This is the best that you can do with your amount of money that you've got. There's no way you're going to do it better. Reel your neck in, or no one's going to follow or listen to any of your ideas. And a lot of heads rolled before things changed at Red Bull. And if it wasn't for the guidance of people like Newey and Horner and Marco, that all came together to make that trifecta of awesome. But what I'm trying to say is, it's pretty impressive what they've been able to do and what they've been able to continue to do. It's not the fact it's someone like McLaren, who you would have thought would have been up the top through adversity. Red Bull have been able to show we can excel even if we don't have the right engine. Doesn't matter. McLaren obviously can't. It just shows you how dynamic they are when it comes to designing a race car and how they work a race team. And it is why they are up there with one of my favourite teams nowadays. I really do like the Red Bull team as a team. I don't like the drivers. I don't like the team guys. I'm not a massive fan of Horner or Marco or any of that. But I like the team because it's plucky.
Yeah, I agree. I disagree a little bit with the money front. Red Bull have an unbelievable amount of money.
Oh yeah, they made billions throughout the 2010, 2013 period of time through their little period of domination.
No, I mean the company.
I know the company has a lot of money, but let's put it this way. When Red Bull first came into the
Red Bull have a lot more money than McLaren.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is Red Bull only have a lot more money than McLaren because what Red Bull have been able to do as Red Bull. When Red Bull bought the Jaguar team, Red Bull were piddly little energy drink that used to support surfers, not necessarily what they are today. You wouldn't necessarily be able to go down to your local champagne bar and get a Red Bull and vodka or whatever. It just wasn't the thing. You didn't get that kind of thing. You'd be able to get Red Bull down at the corner shop, but not necessarily as where it has become as a brand. So it has developed itself, and the way that the Formula One has been a massive influence in that has massively helped. I don't think Red Bull would, as a company, would be anywhere near as big as it was if it wasn't for Formula One.
Potentially.
Interesting.
I think what they've done, you've got to admit.
In the realms of Formula One and how it is these days with the finances and where you have to be with the amount of people you've got behind you, what engine you've got in the back of your car, and the drivers you've got in front of you is quite staggering. And I don't think it has been done in a very long time the way it has been done. Look at Haas. I can't think of any others that have come in and have gone. Lotus. These guys have all got big backing, but they haven't done it. Look at Force India. They've also got really good backing, but they hadn't done it. The Red Bull have managed to find that switch. And they're smashing the guys that do it, day in, day out and have done for 50, 60 years.
Yeah. I mean, I'd agree Williams and McLaren are privateer teams that, that did the same thing. But then Red Bull are doing it now, what they have done.
I know, but all of those teams are all complaining that,
Oh, we can't compete. We just can't do it. We haven't got the money. Oh.
Well, Williams arguably don't anymore. McLaren should do. They're failing miserably. Let's be honest. No, I'd agree. I do like Red Bull as a team. I think they've done an incredible job, and they continue to prove it. If they're given an equal engine of everybody else, they would still be leading the way, I'm sure.
interesting debates.
I was trying to find a history of Red Bull's turnover, but I can't find it.
I think the influence of Formula One will be quite surprising in the whole idea of where Red Bull is as a company, as an energy drink, as a brand.
Potentially, I can't
I think-
find the right information.
We'll get back to you next time.
I mean, I know what their revenue is now. That's all I've got.
Don't worry.
7.5 billion.
It's a good discussion to have. But what I'm trying to say is how fucking good are Red Bull to be where they are right now and be in a position they are right now.
Oh yeah. They've got all the right people together.
I can't wait until that Honda engine is put in the back of that Red Bull.
I really hope it's not a letdown. I hope that everything continues to go in the direction it looks like it is, and they are seriously
I can't think
competitive
of the
next
last
year.
time that Red Bull made a bad decision. When was the last time that Red Bull made a bad decision with their car? Arguably,
Staying with the Renault engine.
yeah, I know, but they tried to work it out, and I think they were pushed out by the fact that Renault decided to go. You know what? We don't care what you do. We'll still sell you engines, but we're going to have our own. We're going to have our own team now. Do you know what I mean? They're gonna their allegiances have completely changed, and Red Bull had to change accordingly. As a masterstroke, definitely, and I think it'll be great to see what happens. I think it will be a brilliant engine. But I was going to say news today that I don't know why this is news today. You would have thought that this would have been news maybe 3 years ago. But Honda have the Honda bosses have okayed more development in the turbo area of the engine. I don't know the exact terminology to that, but there's been some developments at Honda.
Yes, yeah, I'm sure they're going to be making some big changes for next year.
I'll see if I can get the actual.
It depends what they want to do, really. Red Bull, whether they want to see what the current Honda engine or evolution of it will do next year that they know will be reliable, or whether they want a season of absolute turmoil but pushing for that performance that in 2020 might win them a championship.
Well, there's Honda signed deal to ramp up F1 turbo development. Is revealed plans to ramp up the development of its Formula One turbo, having agreed a technology partnership with a Japanese and an end. Or is it a Japanese industrial company? So they're doing something with their turbo, something to do maybe with.
It's going to be coal powered.
Yeah. But I've heard, and I know you hear a lot of little noises coming up from different places, but I've heard Red Bull could have a step in front of other cars in 2019.
Well, the other thing is it's a big aero change next year. And who does better in aero changes? Red
There's-
Bull.
Certain drivers, not necessarily people, drivers have come out and said that they've heard rumblings that Red Bull are the guys to beat next year.
I mean,
So-
nobody knows until they put a car on track in practice.
I
If
know,
any
but
of this
there's
is
always
true,
that kind
but-
of. There's always little whispers, isn't there? Whispers, and.
I mean, yeah, the noises coming out of Honda and coming out of Toro Rosso about the engine developments they've made the last sort of 5 to 10 races is massive.
Yeah.
And we've seen it reflected in Toro Rosso. Fortunately, they started pretty much at the back of the field at the end of the year, at the beginning of the year, and they're now consistently getting into the top 10 with Gasly. It shows you the development, and even on power circuits. So yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed that Ricciardo's not staying in that car next year, and I'm wondering how much he'll regret moving to Renault. But it's going to be great to see Verstappen put in that fight with Leclerc, Vettel, Bottas, and Hamilton.
Well, I also heard more rumblings coming from Renault that we haven't discussed yet.
Okay.
So apparently, Ricardo was savvy to this, but Renault have headhunted quite a few of the top brass at Ferrari and Mercedes starting next year and the year after.
Okay.
Because I know some of them have to go on gardening leave.
They do.
So
Good old
2020
gardening leave.
onwards is meant to be where Renault have a bit of a resurgence to form.
Well, look,
So I think that influenced the move for Ricardo.
they want to get as close as they can to those top 3 teams, but 2020 is going to be their big opportunity. They've got the money, they'll have the infrastructure by then, and I've got a feeling they'll have the engine down by then. And a big regulation change, whatever it will be, we don't know what it is going to be yet.
That's in 2021, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that will be their big chance, and that's what Ricardo will be betting on. He wants to be with a factory team, and he wants a few years before it to settle into it before they make that switch. So I think 2021 is what he'll be looking at. It's whether he can bear the frustration of what will definitely be next year, and maybe 2020 as well. But we've only got 2 seasons until the big reg change. It's not long now.
I love it how we've just literally gone from the middle of the race into news.
Hey, look. You can bet your bottom dollar the thumbnail for this video will be the Verstappen Ocon incident. We haven't even discussed it yet. I know for a fact.
Should we get onto it?
I know for a fact plenty of big podcasts will literally start with that, and that will be 90% of their podcast.
Yeah.
So we like to be different.
I don't think there's much to talk about. To be honest.
So getting on to the big incident then, which happened on said lap 44. Verstappen in control, and all of a sudden we see him backwards and Ocon backwards, and we're thinking, what the fuck has happened here? What had happened was Ocon on brand new super softs, much quicker than Verstappen, tried to overtake Max Verstappen into turn 2. He put his nose down the inside. Verstappen didn't even consider that Ocon would be there. Shut the door. Contact, floor damage to Verstappen. Lost the lead of the race to Hamilton. And on he went.
Yeah.
So, is fault to blame? Can you apply fault? Is anyone to blame? Whose fault was it? If anybody. How did you see that?
Right. From a rule point of view, Ocon was at fault because arguably at the point when they collided, Verstappen's car was in front and there was sufficient space for Ocon to be able to run over the curb, and he might have been able to miss him if he lifted. But on the other side of the coin, Verstappen should have never put himself in a position where Ocon could have even bothered him. And look, the FIA ruled that it was Ocon's fault for doing what he did on track, which I think is the right thing to do. Ocon was the instigator of the incident because of what he tried to do, when he could have just stayed close to Verstappen and then taken him into the next straight. I think there might have been a bit better position for him to overtake there. But anyway, it happened where it happened. I think Verstappen could have always have opened the steering a little bit and made sure that it didn't happen. I don't think he even knew that it was going to be a problem.
I don't think he even saw him. I think is what happened there.
I don't think he
was even looking for him.
I've had him done into the first corner, and I don't think he even thought that Ocon was going to come back. But on the other hand, and as Hamilton said...
This is what I think a lot of people are confusing about. Verstappen didn't overtake Ocon.
No, he didn't. I'm not saying that.
Oh. It wasn't that he...
So what happened?
You said he got past and he was wondering about Ocon coming back at him. It was Ocon...
No. So Ocon was behind him going into the last corner, the kink, and then he overtook Verstappen. So he was neck and neck with Verstappen. Verstappen then outbraked Ocon into the first corner, but Ocon stayed on his outside. That was where Ocon was wrong. Ocon should have realised, well, he's got the corner, he's got the inside of the corner. There's no way that I'm going to be able to make the next part of the corner. He's obviously the leader. Let's just let him have it. But Ocon didn't, and he continued in, and that's where the contact was. So Ocon did necessarily try to go for the overtake, but he was on the outside. And at the point when they went into turn 1, they were neck and neck. Although it was Verstappen's corner because he was on the inside. But because he was on the inside, it meant he got a little bit more speed going into turn 2. Verstappen got in front slightly, and that's when the incident happened. So he was then behind his side pod. Therefore, it's not Verstappen's fault. So in the eyes of the rules, then it's not Verstappen's fault. But I think Verstappen, he knew he was there because of what happened down the straight. He knew that Ocon was there, and he should have been more cautious and even let him go past. What does it matter? He's a back marker. He knows he's a back marker. Just let him past. Because you're going to have to get past him later when his tyres die. And even if they don't die, it doesn't matter. He's unlapped himself. What does it matter? In the whole scheme of things, it doesn't. So, Verstappen was an idiot for his ego let them crash. But Ocon was stupid because of what he did. And then obviously whatever happened afterwards is inexcusable.
You see, I completely missed the first bit. I didn't see that instant with Ocon trying to get past him. It changes it a bit, but for me it doesn't change it.
You know the kink before the line?
Yeah, I've just watched it.
It was pretty much past him.
Yeah.
And Verstappen moved to the inside and saying, no, this is my corner, you're not going to overtake me. And then Ocon still stuck it down the outside of him, which he should never have done. But obviously, I think Verstappen's ego to say, I'm the leader, you're not going to unlap yourself, I don't even care what's going to happen. That's what caused the crash. It was Verstappen's ego. And then obviously what happened afterwards, I think back, 20 years ago, fine. This day and age, inexcusable to hit another driver like that. If they both crashed out the race, they both got out of the car and they both have fisticuffs there and then, maybe that's a little different. But to find the driver in the garage afterwards and push him continuously, twat, what an idiot. He's got to snap out of this petty, immature behaviour sooner rather than later. And for Christian Horner to turn around and say he's lucky he just got a push is just pathetic. In my opinion. What do you think?
I think watching the straight changes it a little bit.
Yeah.
Because my opinion of it was that Ocon should have waited for the DRS zone with the second one. There was no need to make the move down the middle. This rule is a bit of an iffy one anyway. Because with the introduction of Pirelli tyres, we've seen this more and more. We've generally seen it with front runners, specifically Hamilton. It's happened with before, him getting past people at the front because he's quicker. I 100% think it was Ocon's fault.
Yeah.
I think it was a stupid thing to keep his nose in. He could have backed out of it. And completely within Verstappen's right to A, take the corner, and B, be annoyed at him. But there is that question of a wiser head. Verstappen should have realised that Ocon was still there and that there was going to be contact. I think you're right. It was a little bit of his ego or a little bit of I'm the leader. That's why he shut the door. But I still see it's Ocon's fault. As for what happened afterwards, I'm all for that. I have no problem with that at all. We need more of that. A bit more passion, a bit more controversy in Formula One. I have absolutely no problem with that, and I'm fine with Horner. In fact, happy that Horner defended him.
So you think it's acceptable for a driver to find another driver?
Some of my favourite moments from Formula One over the years have been fisticuffs between drivers after incidents.
Yeah, but that these guys are setting example. I can't believe I'm taking this view, because I think it's great that he's passionate. I think it's great that he thinks that, it's good to see that it's not a clinical driver who doesn't really, is a bit boring. I think it's great to see someone who's very passionate about his sport. But you've got to understand that there are people who are 10, even more so his younger, that are going to think that that is the right way to act in a sporting environment, and it's not. Because if that happened in football, you'd get a red card. If it happened in rugby, you'd also get a red card, or whatever card you get. The only places where that still happens is in American sport. And, for a global sport like this, for something like that to happen, I know he didn't punch him, but one push would have been fine. And I would have thought, he's just riled up. But he went back for two more and then almost went back for another one. So even Senna back in the 90s when he hit Irvine in 93, he even got a 2-race ban. I can't remember the last time where someone punched someone in Formula One and wasn't penalised. Maybe in the Hunt era, maybe.
I mean, it wasn't a punch. Let's be clear.
What, Senna punched Irvine?
No, with
Hunt.
With Verstappen.
I know, I'm not saying punch.
Push.
I know, but he didn't just push him once, though, did he? It was all at one point you could see on Ocon's face when he looked towards whoever he was looking at to say, "Come on, sort this out." Well, he looked pretty scared. To be fair, it was bullying behaviour, I don't think that's got any place in sport. That
Okay,
hate.
that's fair enough. I just don't see any harm in it, and I think it enhances the sport, and a sport that is rapidly losing personality.
So
I don't mind that at all.
These guys are setting examples for kids who are racing in lower formula, and if they crash their kart, then that almost makes it that it's okay for them to get out their kart and hit the person that crashed them out. That to me is not acceptable.
Okay,
But anyway,
that's
that's
opinion,
my
that's
feeling
fine,
and
yeah.
your feeling. Yeah.
I think the I just don't see any harm in it, to be honest. I think
Put
we all
your
mummy
views
cock
in the
people.
comments below.
The thing
people.
that's really been missed, and the thing that could have caused the whole incident and the reaction and everything, is that Esteban Ocon and Max Verstappen have been rivals for years.
Yes.
The
No one knows
rivalry
that's
between
enough.
those two is intense.
Yeah.
I think that is what everybody's forgetting a little bit. I think that's why Max knew it was Ocon. He didn't want to let him past. And I think that's why he reacted in the way he did, because there have been incidents like that between them before. I see what you mean about setting an example. For me, I don't really mind. I'm past that. I'm not.
I think for the
people-
spectator point of view, it doesn't matter. I
Oh,
think
it's
it was
great.
Good. It was
I loved
great
it.
to see. That it was good to see in that way. But on the other hand, the way that motorsport is these days and how popular it is for everyone, I don't think that showing that the way to talk about a dispute is violence. That's it.
Very mature of you.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's the same though. If you went, I know it's like completely different. If you went to like a karting event down at your local kart track, and say you're a complete novice, and you get in the way of someone who's one of the upcoming stars, and he spins off, and then he makes it his point to come and find you afterwards, and he punches you, and at the age of maybe 6 or 7 or 8 or 9, you know, that might put you off from ever wanting to race again. That's what's worrying about that.
I don't know.
for me.
I think from 10, 12 years of hearing dads and referees and linesmen and young football matches and stuff, I'm just completely used to that kind of stuff.
I know we are though, because we're from a different generation to what it is at the moment. Because I
Not
think
really. It got even worse nowadays, from what I've heard of dads on the touchlines and hurling abuse at people.
I know that
I still don't think it's got any place. I know what you mean, but
Yeah.
it's just, in Formula One, I don't really mind. I like these rivalries. I like this animosity between them.
I think it's good that, like I said,
I seem
if
to
it
remember.
happened-
I seem to remember you did an entire section of this podcast on fights.
I did because it's interesting. But if you notice, a lot of the fights happened a long time ago.
Yeah.
And a lot of the fights happened after the race. During the race, or literally very quickly after. Not after the podium celebration, all of this, and then made a point of finding him to push him, to tell him how he felt. I think it's just, yeah. Anyway, like I said, if it happened on the track, they both got taken out, they both got out their car, and they managed to have a little fist fight there and then sort it out. They're both, you know, equal to the fight. But to find someone afterwards, that was the kind of scary bit for me. I think Max should have known better, but that's it. That's all.
Yeah, he's just wound off about losing a win, wasn't he? Like at the end of the day.
At the end of the
He even
day-
said in the car, "Look, you better." If I was the FA, I would listen to the Red Bull team radio and got Ocon the hell out of there. Because he even
know,
said
but-
on the radio, he said, "You better hope I can't find Ocon after the race."
But that's also why it's worrying, because it's premeditated.
Okay,
I know no damage was done,
it
but
doesn't
it's
worry
still...
me. Like,
Does it not?
no, not at all.
Mm.
He was, yeah. Anyway, I think we're gonna agree on that.
No, maybe not.
You've taken the moral high ground. I'll give you that.
And I
I can't really
never
argue
take-
that, but I just
I never take the high ground though. It's normally the other way around.
I know.
I thought you would have a very, very different view. I'm quite surprised that you don't.
No,
I thought you would be the same view as me.
I mean, it's unnecessary. Of course, it was. I'm of that view, but do I mind? Do I think it's a bad example? Yeah, probably. Did that not mean that I enjoyed it very much? No.
Oh no, I loved it. I thought it was great. Personally, I thought it was great. But from a sport that's getting more and more exposure for young people, or we're trying to do that, That's stepping backwards for me.
Okay,
Cool. Move on, shall we?
no problem.
Shall we move on? I think everyone's going to be talking about Verstappen Ocon. And yeah.
Really, I haven't heard anything about it.
I haven't either.
No.
Nothing at all. So let's move on to what happened after that then. So Lewis went through.
Yep. So Lewis went through. Raikkonen was straight onto the back of Verstappen.
Yep.
And then it was a slow gain from the pair of them on Hamilton.
Yep.
But the real action happened with Ricciardo and Bottas. It took Ricciardo an age to get past Valtteri, unfortunately.
He did.
I think at the time of the fuel loads and the tyres, I think Bottas also settled in, whereas Verstappen sort of took all four of them by surprise the first 10 laps. I think that's why he found it tough. He clearly had the pace to win that race, similar to Verstappen. But he eventually found his way past, and then Bottas and Vettel pitted later on because they were running out of tyres. But Hamilton held on.
Mm-hmm.
And all credit to him. He does such damage to his tyres normally. And he pitted so much earlier. I'm going to guess it was the little bit of floor damage on Verstappen that meant he didn't have the ultimate pace to catch him back up, or he'd taken too much life out of the tyres.
Yeah.
But he ended up about 1.4, 1.5 seconds off in the end as Hamilton came across to win. Let's be honest, quite a lucky race, but, you know, he has broken his duck of winning a race after securing a world title.
Yes, he has.
So that is now no longer a record that he unwillfully holds. So yeah, it was a good win for Hamilton. Verstappen, still a great second place, but he should have won that by a mile. And then Raikkonen took the third spot on the podium, continuing his great form, just about staying ahead of Ricciardo, Bottas, and then Vettel. We had a little bit of fun and games on the podium. The old Samba people.
Did we? I missed that.
Oh, they just suddenly in between, just like after the trophies were given, a bunch of Samba people came out on the podium and the music started going and everyone started dancing, apart from Kimi Räikkönen.
I didn't see that.
It was quite funny. If you do get to see it, it's quite a funny little thing. And of course, it meant that Mercedes wrapped up the Constructors' title, the 5th in a row. There is only one team in history to match that. Can you name them?
Ferrari?
Correct. Yep, not even Red Bull managed 5 in a row. Of course, that was only 4. So they draw in a very illustrious crew and just shows what a good job they've done over the last 5 years.
Yay.
And it was nice to see some proper team celebrations, and they were much, much more energetic. And I think Hamilton seemed much happier about this title than his driver's title.
So happy that he fell over.
He did. They all collapsed. I think that those railings fell down about 3 or 4 times as they were all getting out of the cars. It was good fun to see. Yeah, it's good to see them excited about it. Right, rounding off the rest of the positions then, Charles Leclerc, again, just an incredible job in P7, finishing a good 7 seconds ahead of Grosjean. Then Magnussen and Perez rounded off the points. Good showing from Haas again, after their bogey track in Mexico. Some good points for them. And then Hartley just outside the points in 11th. Carlos Sainz in 12th. Gasly only managed 13th and actually finished. What happened to Gasly? Have I missed something there?
Oh, no idea. I know Leclerc did very well.
I don't remember any incidents with him. Maybe I'm wrong. There must have been some cause for that, but that's. I didn't know Hartley finished 11th. That's a pretty stunning drive from him, to be fair.
Why not?
From where he was on the grid. Oh, it is. And outraces Gasly again. So, all credit to him. Ocon as 14th. I think we know why his race was ruined. Stoffel Van Dorn 15th. There's a nice little scrap going on between the McLarens and the Williams. And, you know, he's not going to be here for much longer, so let's give him credit where credit's due. Van Dorn actually overtook Alonso fair and square in this race. And finished ahead. There's a nice little battle going on between the two Williams and the two McLarens. Let's hope that doesn't continue, because those two teams are not here to do that week in, week out. That's for sure. We have retirements of Hulkenberg, and Ericsson eventually retired after his catalogue of problems with his rear diffuser. Okay. Let's take a little quick look over the standings. Of course, Mercedes wrapped up the championship. Second and third we know about. Renault have pretty much secured, unless Haas go and win the race in Abu Dhabi, get a 1-2. Fourth will be Renault's. Haas have done very well to get fifth, to be fair. And McLaren are, let's be honest, because of Fernando Alonso, they are sixth. They're probably going to finish sixth unless Force India get an incredible haul. To be fair, though, Force India, that is stunning, isn't it? P7.
Yeah.
Considering half their points are null and void. And Sauber, again, to outscore Toro Rosso is pretty good. So good job from all of them. I think Hulkenberg has still held on. Yeah, he's still holding on to his 7th place, best of the rest, and I think he will finish there. And Perez, Magnussen, and Alonso still in the top 10. How is he still in the top 10?
I don't think he will be after the end of this race. No.
Well, Ocon needs
Esteban.
a point, or Sainz needs 6 points,
Yeah.
or
I think that's
Grosjean
doable.
15. So there's only Ocon or Carlos Sainz.
Can do it.
Potentially. We'll wait and
And
see.
Dawn's still on. Jesus Christ!
He's
He's on 12!
I know,
When
you
did that
missed it.
happen?
You missed
What?
it. I know.
Where was that?
We talked about it because it's the first podcast me and Fox did.
No
And
way!
then he got some points. And we were like,
Oh!
Rage is going to hate he's missed that. And I was like, I know, we're going to have to
Oh!
get T-shirts reprinted.
Oh my god! What the hell?
I
What's this
know.
world come to?
He's now better than Marcus Ericsson.
Well, there you go.
There's a headline for him. Stick that on his wiki page. Yeah, so he's on 12 now, I'm afraid. That meme has now officially died.
It has.
12?
12? doesn't have the ring to it.
No.
Marcus Ericsson with 9, and Leclerc's got 33. Gonna let that settle in.
I think,
Just
the,
settle
I think the
there.
bigger one is Hartley versus Gasly. Because I think Leclerc has shown his pace, and Ericsson has improved a lot in the second half of the season. Hartley's been awful in comparison to Gasly.
Yeah.
He's shown a little bit of signs of improvement the last few races, but yeah, I'm going to be very surprised if he is in that car next year. We'll wait and see. Right, on to, very briefly, your favourite section of the week. Probably not. It's time for...
Fucking crash of the week, you bastards!
I thought you've got it wrong, gone into the news there. That was almost a disaster.
There's 2, isn't there, that we could have crash of the week. I think everyone's going to go for, oh, it was Ocon, if it happened, the great of the week. But I think you showed me crash of the week on Free Practice 2 with Hulkenberg. It was a crash. Some crash
It was
happened.
a proper crash.
A proper crash. A wheel came off. It's crash of the week.
Boom.
Didn't even happen during the race. Sealed.
Signed,
locked
sealed,
in.
delivered.
Yeah.
That
signed,
trophy is not
sealed,
in the post.
Didn't deliver. No. Not coming anywhere.
Okay,
That's it.
cool.
Yeah, moving on. News? Got any news? Got any news? Cheeky news!
There's a bit of news about place. I mean, we touched on a lot of the Verstappen fallout. Obviously, he got a little bit of public service as his penalty.
Cheeky public, cheeky
People-
service.
People were joking about with memes and stuff and what he would be doing in his public service.
Got any memes? Got any memes you can post? At the end of the
Um,
week?
My mouse has just died.
Oh,
Not good timing.
is that a meme?
Not well. It's for me. My own personal. I think the only one I actually saw. I'm sure there's plenty more on Twitter. Was there are a few. There's one of him with. I presume it's from a film or something, but people in orange like reflexive jackets picking up litter.
Yeah.
One of them's Max, and then we got one from The Simpsons, where Bart always writes the lines at the beginning, and of course Max is writing, "I will not push Ocon."
I've seen one of him with his face superimposed on one of the cleaning guys for the Formula One Grand Prix. I thought that was quite
I'd
funny.
like to see that. Yeah.
I'll send that over to you. I've also seen the orange one, and I've also seen like a fight night poster between Ocon and Verstappen, which I think is also quite good. But yeah, that's about it really. Meme of the week.
I think, a lot of this blown up portion. Public service in Formula One has always been the same thing. It just means that the FIA call on the drivers in 2 days that they wish to normally just do a media event or something with kids.
Yeah.
He's not literally going to be litter picking or
Get your kids out, Verstappen.
you're going to see him at the side of a Dutch road anytime soon.
Get your kids out.
That's not a chant. Let's stop.
There you go. I sent you both the memes. If you want to add them, you can add them. If you don't,
I don't add shit to this anymore.
okay. Well, any
don't
other
have time.
news? Cheeky news.
Horner obviously defended Verstappen for the push, which we already went over a little bit, saying that drivers aren't robots and we don't want them to be. Again, I'm perfectly okay with that. There was a little bit of news before the weekend.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
yeah. Don't go weird again, please. It's the beginning and the ends that you get really weird. In the middle, you're actually more on the ball than me.
Okay.
Yep. Robert Kubica has apparently been offered a drive for Williams or a reserve seat at Ferrari.
Yeah.
2 options. Which leaves the ball in his court, if rumours are to be believed, as to whether he wants to partner George Russell next year.
I think he'll need a hand.
Rage, everybody. He won't be here next week, don't worry. Look, I don't believe that story's true, because if it was, I think Kubica would literally bite their arm off for the chance. If that drive was really offered to him, it would have been taken and announced by now. I think he's still in the running, but I'm not sure that's his choice. But hey, maybe he doesn't want to just be round the back of the grid in a Williams, and a reserve driver as a Ferrari might be more interesting for him. I don't know, but we might see him on the grid next year in some capacity.
Maybe they could just never give him a big enough digit on his paycheck.
Good one.
I'm lost for any other hand puns.
You shouldn't be making him in the first place. Let's be honest. It's really
Sure.
We've just been through like a 15-minute rant of you about setting the example, and now you're mocking a man that is still doing incredibly things despite terrible circumstances.
Some would say he could do it with his arms tied behind his back.
Right, you can't talk about this stuff anymore. Like you can never take the high ground again.
Oh no. Anakin. Anyway, I got a little bit of news.
Okay, go ahead.
So apparently, Fernando Alonso and McLaren confirm a 2019 return to Indy 500.
They have indeed.
They have.
I didn't think you liked Formula One news. But...
Nope, that's all you're getting.
Oh, okay.
And also, McLaren visited the grave of Ayrton Senna whilst they were in Sao Paulo, which I think was quite nice.
As long as it was nowhere near that awful picture that Hamilton posted himself next to,
No,
then it's
I don't think
okay.
Anywhere near that. Also, another bit of funny news on the driver parade. Dan Ricciardo stole someone's phone.
Yes,
Took it round and recorded loads of.
it was the Mercedes AMG Twitter account.
Yes. He took it round to the driver's parade and then gave it back to him at the end, which I thought was great.
Yep, and then credit to the Mercedes guy. He said, Fernando, I know you're out of work next year. We're looking for an intern. Because I think he insulted Mercedes. I don't know, he insulted someone.
Bit of banter.
Bit of bants. Always got to have a bit of bants. Bit of bants. I'm just going to... Oh, it is actually Kimmy that posted this. Perfect. Even better. I've got a little example of the... This. Go look at Kimmy Rocken's Instagram if you want to see this. I'm not putting it in because I'm lazy. But you could have a look at that samba scene on the podium.
Oh, I have seen this. I just never joined in. I never joined in. I never looked at it. Oh, so there's girls on the podium, and he didn't even bother to join in.
Well, they were all dancing and to music and stuff for a minute or so, and that's Kimmy himself that's posted, "I'm in party mode." See, got a sense of humour.
Did you see his post afterwards?
Happy birthday to the captain of our family.
Yeah, I thought it was quite fun.
Yeah, he was asked the other day where it was. It's Halloween looks interesting. Is that Kimi Räikkönen as like a harlequin or a
Weird
jester?
Harlequin. Okay. Random. It is actually him because you can see his whole family all dressed up, and he's still dressed up as that. Random. Anyway, that's enough of that. So is that the end of the news? End of the news.
I mean, we're scraping the barrel if that's where we've got to.
Yeah.
Formula E, we've done.
Yeah, I reckon that's the end of the news. That's the end of the news, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do we do normally after this?
Mercedes will receive a 9 million bonus after winning the Constructors' World title.
Good for Mercedes.
It's about 10 grand each. That's why they were all so much happier than Lewis.
Oh, fabulous.
The money actually matters to them. Right, a little bit of fancy F1 predictions, and then we will get out of here.
I'm not even gonna Well, I am going to, but apparently there were slight whispers of conspiracy that Ocon chose to impede Max because he's a future Mercedes driver.
Oh, yeah, I obviously just completely ignored that. That was said a lot.
Absolutely ridiculous to even think that was why.
You know what Sky Sports are like. That was a constant feature throughout the race since it happened and afterwards.
So ridiculous to even hint at that being a possible reason for what happened.
Like, he would have had to have known, for it to be premeditated, he would have had to have known exactly what was going to happen during the race as well.
Like I think fucking Max is pretty fucking lucky that it's like not the old track layout, because they moved something to do with the pit, didn't they? And there's a bit more runoff after the center S's. Go back 5 years or so, and Max would have been out of the race.
Into the barrier.
Into the barrier.
Indeed.
So yeah, we're doing the old podcast, fantasy Formula podcast. I haven't changed my team. Have you?
I don't think so. Cream in a Can Cup.
That's the one.
Pow 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 has, I think, all but sewn up the title. We are going to need to get in contact and send a t-shirt the way of Roberto from Romania.
Oh.
So if you can get in touch with that.
You're going to have to pay postage, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we'll probably have to do it for Christmas sometime. And I'll pay both. That's fine.
You gonna pay the postage?
Well, to Romania, it'd be like 5 or 6 quid.
You think? Well, we got to make the shirt first. We got to design the shirt.
Yeah, it's the shirt that's the real cost. But yeah, I will probably put a picture up on Twitter when we do get that. We got one more race yet. I'll try and get something designed. But it looks like he'll wrap it up. He is now over 200 points ahead of Foxworth in second place. Big mover this week. Rage up to third.
Fuck yes.
Yep. You have overtaken Merrick, I think. And Mercedes AMG Petronas F1 is in 5th. Papaya Orange 6th. Dava 6th. Yazbrog 8th. Armchair Pilot Racing a 9th. Farhan a 10th. I am 11th. But I am still above the 2 guys that had the team before I changed it. So that's all I care about. And then some other people. Which we'll go into depth maybe a bit more in the final episode about this before we break up for the summer break. We will have a end of year review, which I will make sure is going to be you, me, and Foxworth.
Yeah, why not?
So we'll do that around Christmas, New Year time, as with the review last year.
Yep.
You got 188 points from Brazil.
Well,
very good, sir.
I aim to please, sir.
I think that might be.
I think I've got Leclerc in my team.
You do.
And I have Raikkonen. And I have Red Bull. And I might even have Max Verstappen. Not sure. But anyway.
188 is your best performance of the season.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Finish strong.
Got Leclerc as the turbo, 32. Hamilton got you 49. Raikkonen 31. Red Bull 65. Alonso 4. And Magnussen 7.
Well, there you go.
Very good. Very good indeed. You are now 41,000th in the world.
Thanks.
Out of 192,000.
Well,
Right.
that's progress.
I guess I'm just trying to add something here. If that's all right. Right. Predictions for the final race in Abu Dhabi. Apparently, there's just 1 point between us in the predictions.
Oh, fuck.
So
I
that's
don't know what the predictions were last week. I don't know how that who actually won and lost last time.
I think I closed the gap. I can open it up and have a quick look for you.
We're going to open up the gap. So I'm going to go. Ooh, Mercedes are arguably always very good. But Max is doing quite well at the moment.
Okay.
I'm going to go Hamilton, Max, Raikkonen. Same positions as this week.
Okay, I am going to go with... Oh, do I have to go big? Do I have to go all out to try and win?
I ain't going to have to, mate. Go big or go home, mate.
No, I just need to get 3 correct. And you to get 2, and then I get 3 points. And you get 2, and then it's a draw. That's no good. I'm going to go... I'm going to go Hamilton, Max Vettel. It's not going to be enough.
That won't be enough.
I have to go 2 different.
Two different.
It's the only way.
2 different will at least give you a draw, won't it?
Well, no, because if
Is there 1 point between us?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to give at least 2 different to win.
Or I go safe 1 different and go for the draw.
Yes.
Right.
I feel you'll be a wimp if you go for the draw.
Okay, I'm going to go... No, I was 3 different. Hamilton, Verstappen, Raikkonen.
No, because I said Hamilton, Verstappen, Raikkonen.
You said
That's what I
said
said.
Verstappen.
Hamilton, Verstappen, Raikkonen is what I said.
Oh, I thought you said Verstappen was going to win.
No.
Okay, I'll go the other way around then. Verstappen, Hamilton, Vettel.
Okay, there you go. Locked in. Lock them in, Fox. Fox them in, lock.
Lock
In them in,
those
Fox.
Bad boys in. What I actually like as well, which I'll go a little bit into very quickly, he's done what the championship would be if our predictions had been correct.
Yes, well, we can go over that at the end because it's not done yet.
All right. There's also a spreadsheet called Maths, which I like very much.
Okay.
Which has got some very interesting
You should put this in. You should put this in the description.
See, I will. Yeah, I will do that.
That'll be in the description if you guys want to check out the spreadsheet that Fox has kindly put together. for us.
Interestingly,
Yes.
seat predictions, there's half a point between them
Fuck.
as well.
Is anything still to be decided yet?
Yeah, we still got a Force India and a Williams seat.
Oh, spicy meme.
I think we'll both get the Force India seat.
Yes.
Maybe a man called Stroll.
I think the Williams has always been the decider, though, so it is all down to what happens. And I think you said Kubica, didn't you?
I said Sorokin. You said Kubica and Ocon.
Oh.
So your hope is Kubica, mine is Sorokin staying. I got Russell right. If I get Sorokin right, I've got them both right. I mean,
All right, well,
my real wild card this year was getting Raikkonen right at Sauber. I've never been prouder of anything. I don't know how that happened. Okay, let's wrap this up and get out of here then, shall we? I hope you guys have enjoyed this podcast. Hopefully we can make some good progress in improving things for the new season. But for now, I hope you have enjoyed following the season along with us and tune in for the final episode in Abu Dhabi. I'm getting to it. I'm a professional.
Okay.
And of course, our season review. If you do have any, things that might start suggesting changes we can make to the format or ways we can improve the podcast for next year, do let us know. And if you want to catch us again, you can see us on Thursday in the ORL League live from Canada. That's F1 2018, if you didn't know. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good rest of the week. Until Thursday, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again next time.
I use African sea snails to clean my feet in the winter.
It's only practical.